Okay, today we are going to talk about metric units of capacity. Yesterday we talked about customary units of capacity. Metric is just a different form of measurement. They use metric in other countries. We have a few things around here that we use in metric, specifically like car parts or science stuff. We talk about metric for that. But metric is really neat because it's standardized. Like when you're talking about pints or to cups or gallons to quarts, we have to know, okay, there's 4 quarts in a gallon, or that there's 2 cups in a pint. With metrics, we know that it's a base 10 system. So as we move through the different types of measurements, it increases by 10 or by 100 or by 1,000. So in your notebook, yep, here's my notebook. See the spiral? I want you to go ahead and write your title, Metric Units of Capacity. Your I can statement, I can compare metric units of capacity. Remember, capacity is a way to measure liquids. We want to measure liquids with this. We're not going to measure a rectangular prism. We're going to measure some liquids with this. So the first size that I want to show, this is called a milliliter. The milliliter is the smallest form of measurement of capacity, metric unit wise. Milliliters is going to be very, very, very small. So small, it might look like this. This is an eyedropper. We call it an eyedropper because it's very small amounts of liquid. Notice you can see 0.5 milliliter, 1.5, 2, and this is a small amount of liquid. It's going to be the smallest. Now, in the metric system, a step up from the milliliter would be the centiliter, but we don't often use that. Further from that would be the deciliter, which we don't usually use that. This is another milliliter showing how much a milliliter is. These are called graduated cylinders, and we use them in science. They're really small. From the deciliter would be the regular just liter. So each one of those is a step up. But in liquid, we measure milliliters or in liter measurements. So here's an example of a liter measurement. Oftentimes our soda bottles come in 2-liter soda bottles, the really big ones that you hopefully drink soda out of for days. Those are 2-liter bottles. This is a liter water bottle. My water bottle that I have on the table usually, or that I drink out of daily, is usually about a liter. So, like I said, we don't usually measure the in-between, so we go from milliliter to liter. Here's another picture of a liter. If you have a really big container of hand sanitizer, notice at the bottom, it says 33.5 fluid ounces. We learned about fluid ounces yesterday. Or 1 L, which means 1 liter. And I have one more picture for a liter. There we go. A can of juice. This would be a really big can that would be able to be shared between a couple of different people. Now, I wanted to put a kiloliter on here because it is a thing. We don't see it a lot here in the United States because it is a lot of liquid to measure. But yesterday we were talking about oil barrels, so I wanted to show you it would be similar to that. But a kiloliter, as you see at the bottom of this picture, it says 1 kiloliter is 1,000 liters. So it would take 1,000 of those water bottles or hand sanitizers to be able to make up 1 kiloliter, that big barrel. Okay, so we talked about milliliters, liters, and kiloliters. So I wrote those extra prefixes in there because it depends on this thing that's in the middle that decides whether we're going to be measuring liquid. If we're going to be measuring weight, we're going to use grams. If we're measuring distance or length, we're going to use meters. So here we have liters, which means we're measuring liquid of some sort. So if I'm going to travel from these tiny little things, these milliliters, up to liters, it's a lot different because we have small amount to a whole big amount in size-wise. So let's say that we had 5 milliliters. Is this amount big or small? 5 milliliters is going to be tiny. That's kind of like the eyedropper. Well, if I were to compare 5 milliliters to how much liters that is, it's going to be, if it's already small in milliliters, there's only 5 milliliters, tiny, tiny amount, it's not going to transfer to a huge amount in liters. It's still going to be this small, small amount, except instead of saying 5 milliliters, it's going to say liters, 0.005 liters, because it's that small of amount of 1 full liter. To be able to make 1 full liter, you have to have 1,000 milliliters. To make 1 full kiloliter, you need 1,000 liters. So if you have, here we go. I should write this out. Oops. So here we go. Write this down, please. 1 liter is equal to 1,000 milliliters. And 1 kiloliter is equal to 1,000 liters. So let's look at something like this. A science fair project, there are 4 different containers. There's a 1 liter, a 2 liter, a 4 liter, and a 5 liter. I want to show how much each one of these is in milliliters. So, like I said before, 1 liter, to be able to have 1 liter, you need 1,000 milliliters. So if I'm saying, okay, what's 1 liter in milliliters? It's going to be 1,000. How about this 2 liter? How many milliliters will I have there? Right, I should have 2,000 milliliters. How about this 4 liters? If I have 4 liters, how many milliliters? I should have 4,000 milliliters. And this 5, I should have 5,000 milliliters. Let's do some practice here. Let's say I have a bottle of water, kind of like my, actually, you know what? I'll just show you a picture of it. Bottle of water, kind of like the bottle of water that I have on my table most days. If I have a bottle of water, do you think this is probably 1 milliliter or 1 liter? Right, this is probably 1 liter. How about if I have a swimming pool? Is that swimming pool probably 80,000 milliliters? Sounds like a lot. Or 80,000 liters. Well, do I take, is it 80,000 water bottles or is it 80,000 little micro drops? If I were to think about this milliliters to compare it to this liters, I'm going to take these milliliters and divide by 1,000. So if I took 80,000 and divided by 1,000, I would have 80 liters of water. So 80 liters of water or 80,000 liters of water. Which one makes more sense for a swimming pool? Well, I definitely want to swim in 80,000 liters of water instead of just 80. Okay, so after you've watched my video, you've taken notes in a notebook, you're going to go ahead and head on over to your assignment. It's going to be on Schoology. Pick up your assignment and start working. I do have a paper copy if you would prefer a paper copy. Here's your clue for your missing number. The number in the hundreds spot is divisible by 3. The number in the hundreds spot is divisible by 3. All right, happy mathing.